Philadelphia Eagles came in and played some Castle Crashers last night as they took down King Henry and the Baltimore Ravens. I didn't know they enjoyed that game as much as we did. Hello and welcome to Generic Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Goose Josh, and with me as always is Bossa Nova Jones.
Bossa Nova.
This week, or this episode, we'll talk, got a little late, but I mean, Thanksgiving happened, we had stuff come up. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk too much about the AFC Playoff Picture for last week, so that's what we're going to do most of this week.
I like last week better.
I know you do, coming off a win, but it feels kind of, almost set as far as the playoff picture. In the AFC. Maybe we really should have done it last week, but we'll talk some other stuff. Like I said with the beginning, the Eagles came into Baltimore, came crashing through their castle and took down the king.
Quite literally with that Cooper DeJean tackle.
Right. No, it was a pretty solid game. Unfortunately for the Ravens, their offense was. I mean, it was a real defensive game. So it was, and at points it felt really slow and stagnant in that first half. But the Ravens, their defense, finally really coming together. Now it's just, I just feel like it's kind of it's really late in the season to really for them to. I think they messed up their chances at a better seed. I don't know if they're gonna even. I don't think they're gonna get a home playoff game.
Right, they'll probably be. I mean, it still remains to be seen how the AFC North will shape out. But the Steelers are looking really good right now, so I don't think they're gonna crash and burn here.
Right. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I thought. I don't want to say Russ was I probably did say Russ was washed because some of the play he did end of last season, but he looks like he's come back to form. And sometimes coaching quarterback, it doesn't always work great together, and this is a great example because the Broncos are doing good and the Steelers are doing great and Russ is doing great. So, no other way to explain it other than they're just good for both Russ and the Denver Broncos, even them not being together. So, we'll talk more about the Russ and stuff, but I don't think they're gonna catch the Steelers, and their defense hasn't been the same, and a lot of that is. Mike McDonald not being there.
Mm-hmm. They lost too many pieces.
Yeah, well, and it's not just him. It was assistants and coordinators because it wasn't the only. I know Anthony Weaver left, but wasn't there one other person too? I think went with McDonald or something.
I think someone else did.
Or maybe they went somewhere else, but there were at least 3 or 4 coaches that left as well, and Patrick Queen left as well, and Calais Campbell was on that team last year, I think.
I think so. I forget.
And then there wasn't there the guy who's been on so many teams and he's in Carolina right now.
Okay, that doesn't help.
He was with them, I think, last year or something. I am blanking.
Yeah, I don't. What position was it?
It's like a defensive tackle.
Okay, yeah. I'm not sure then.
He was on the Texans before too, and then I think he was a Colt. It's gonna bug me if I mean, at least we'll say since we're not really gonna talk about too much on the NFC, why we got we can talk about Carolina a little bit more later, but it's just these defensive pieces are important. Linebacker? Man, I can't even find him. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
Right. I mean, I see Jadeveon Clowney's on the Panthers, but it was on the Ravens.
Oh, that was it. It was Jadeveon Clowney. Thank you.
It's he wasn't on the Colts, but
yeah. I still don't see him on the list. So I still couldn't. Oh, there he is. Is that a linebacker? That was it. That was who I was thinking of. So thank you for that. I totally missed him because I saw Josie Jewell. He was like above Josie Jewell on the list. Anyways, yeah, it's just you can see how these like there's missing pieces all around this defense, and I mean I'm glad that they've been making some headway, but like one of my big questions as I saw was Deontay Johnson. Since we're talking Carolina, anyways, they made a trade for Deontay Johnson before the deadline. He didn't play any snaps yesterday. Like, what's that about?
Right? Like, is he still learning the offense or what?
I mean, at some point, like, you gotta be like,
I know some of these players just come in and play, like, the hell.
Just let him run some routes, like, is he not understanding? Is he not getting the chemistry with Lamar? I mean, it's their bye week this week, right? So, like, I would definitely be looking at some practice and stuff.
Right? Then you got him to give Lamar more help, and you have, like, this is probably the best wide receiving group that Lamar has ever had, so you're doing something wrong here.
Yeah. But, I mean, I do think with this loss and stuff, it does take, I know we've talked a little bit about it, but I think Lamar's out of the running for MVP.
He would have to play amazing these last games to get back into it. I really think he's out of it, but I think he's always been out of it since he won it again. Like, he won it last year. Like, I know people wanted to say stuff, but I really just don't think they're going to give it to him back to back.
Yeah, same. And but for me, since we're talking AFC, like, the Josh Allen. It's between Josh Allen and the opponent of the Ravens with Saquon Barkley. It's going to be interesting. Josh Allen hasn't had the most statistically great season when it comes to yards, but he's you just see it in his play. Same thing with Saquon, like you see it in his play. He's not getting as many touchdowns because, he gets down to the 1 yard line and then they do the tush push in Philly.
Right, Jalen Hurts is stealing his touchdowns.
Right, so you can't technically add those, because it's not his, so you can't add these to this made up total. You should, but then I'd also be getting more points in fantasy football while I have, and everybody else who has Saquon Barkley in fantasy football.
So yeah, Lamar. So right now I'm looking at like betting odds from a website, and
before we get into that, I just want to say one last thing about Josh Allen. Like I don't know his complete like how many yards he's throwing for or completions or whatever, but I know I don't know how many. I know he has been making a lot of touchdowns and has not been turning over the ball. I think he's been statistically great compared to all his other seasons, and like at most he's been I think he's had one multi-turnover game, if that. I think that might have been the Seattle one, but I'm not sure. But he's still been playing, like, you just see he's been playing great, and it's like I don't want to say he's carrying this team, because if you actually look at this team, you see how they are developing as they go. Josh started that and has been really making his magic work. So I think that's where you always, it's like you kind of saw with Lamar and Patrick Mahomes. And I hate to say, like, I don't think it's a quarterback award, but I also feel that, it's like, if you would have let Saquon get those touchdowns instead of the tush push, I think a lot of people would flip and say, like, nope, it is, I think Saquon would be, pun intended, running away with this award.
I can see that. Saquon is, so I'm looking at, like, this betting site that has, like, a lot of the betting odds, like, totals. Right. So Josh Allen is 1, Saquon Barkley's 2, Lamar's 3. I don't know. He hasn't really dropped because these are like current. And Jared Goff is 4th. I still think Jared Goff should still be in the conversation. They're still winning because still winning, and he's still not, and he's still completing a shit ton of his passes.
I know we don't like. I know they don't like to say like, yeah, we didn't like it last year when like Lamar beat Brock Purdy, and it was like this competition of like whose team won.
Mm-hmm.
But it really could come down to like if the Lions were to beat Josh Allen and the Bills, that could really propel if he has an excellent game.
Mm-hmm.
Because is that no? That's not this weekend. I think is that a Sunday night game? Check let me know. I'll just get into it and say that could really propel Jared Goff if they were to win. I don't even know where it is. Like I just know that they play each other.
No, the Lions play Thursday night this week. So.
Right. No. I know it's in another week because I know they play the Rams, but I think it's
That's
next
not
week.
even prime time.
Wait, Bills and Lions is not prime time?
No, we get Green Bay at Seattle.
What's the Monday Night Football game that week?
Chicago. That's the one with two that are Chicago at Minnesota and Atlanta at Las Vegas.
No, we got to figure out how to flex this into Monday Night Football or something, because I think that week 15 is where Denver got flexed into Thursday night, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
Or is that the week after? I forget.
Yeah, week after.
Okay, but like I don't know if it's too late. I hope it's not too late. Like we need this game flexed into a prime time spot between these two teams, because like this is a possible Super Bowl matchup, and we need to see it. Like it needs to be Monday night. It needs to be Sunday night. I mean, what was Sunday night again?
Green Bay at Seattle. Which granted, they're both playoff teams in Green Bay at Seattle, but this is like two of the best teams in the league, and you know it's an afternoon game on Sunday, so you can still flex this in. Like everyone wants to see this game.
Flex this into Monday, because you said what, Falcons and Raiders?
Yeah, or Falcons and Raiders, and Chicago and Minnesota.
Minnesota is the only team that is probably going to make the playoffs out of those four. I'm fine flexing either of those games out of Monday Night Football. Let's get it done. You know, it's like didn't do it with the Browns and the Broncos. I know that's not doing it because of the Simpsons thing with the Bengals and the Cowboys. This is an absolute one. You've got a doubleheader Monday Night Football. Flex one of those games out. Make it happen.
Right? Like, I'm sorry. That's like, it just needs to be in there. It's one of the biggest games going on.
Right? I don't know how you got to do it. It needs to be done. It should have been done. If it's in it might already be in the process. It has to happen. Especially with the Bears being, it's like with losing schedule, losing record right now. I need something else. I need something else.
Also, could we flex? Can we just flex both of those games and get the Pennsylvania Bowl in as the other game too?
Is that a morning game that week?
No, that's an afternoon game.
Wait. On the same week, we're gonna have two afternoon for the West Coast games, so late window games. We're gonna have the Steelers at the Eagles, as well as the Bills and the Lions. Two possible Super Bowl matchups, and they're in the afternoon window. And I gotta go flip between these channels. Thank goodness I got Red Zone, but. No, put one of them on it. One of them can be in the afternoon. That's fine. Like if we're not, we really do need the Bill. We need the Bills and the Lions on
flex
Monday Night Football.
Flex them both in because they both deserve to be games.
They absolutely do both deserve to be. But,
and if Saquon can run on the Steelers, then that might like help him with MVP.
Oh God, see that's the other thing. These are MVP games. This is going to show who's the MVP. Oh, this is week. Then I cannot wait for the 2 weeks. It's going to come by. I know it's going to come by quick, and I'm not ready for football season to be over, but I am ready for week 15. It does help that the Broncos are off this coming week, so I don't necessarily have it. Would have been better if these games were week 14, but from a purely biased, selfish Broncos standpoint. But anyways, I know we lost. I know we went off track on that betting odds. What were you talking about with the betting odds? I'm too excited for this week 15.
So I was talking about Jared. I was talking about Jared Goff. Also, randomly, just for your knowledge as a Broncos fan, Derrick Henry has fallen off so much down the list. He is under Bo Nix for MVP.
Wow, that is something. I mean, I know Bo Nix is like probably like right now 1 or 2 in the offensive, rookie of the year stuff. Probably 2, but the fact that he's even that he's above, I know it's probably like what 10 or 15 on the MVP thing. But if
Derrick Henry is 19, Bo Nix is 18.
Okay, still that's pretty low. I mean, for Derrick Henry, who was probably in the top 5 a month ago. I don't know if Bo Nix was 18. I don't even think Bo Nix was in the top 20 a month ago. So
right.
All right.
Man, Joe Burrow is still high, even though he has a losing record.
Dude, he's still playing great. I hate that it's his record, but he's definitely.
It's not his fault. He might have a small bit to blame, but it's not his fault they're losing.
Yeah. And like I said, we've got. We can talk a little bit more NFC later. We talked about the Eagles and the Eagles look great. Like it's gonna be if we get Detroit, Philly as far as the championship game for the NFC. Like that should be a fun one. I was thinking like, man, why didn't we get that as a game this season? I'm just like, yeah, because Philly had came in second in the division, and the Lions won their division, so they didn't play. Their divisions didn't play, so it's gonna be a real special matchup. First time in the playoffs. Right. It's gonna be a fun one. But no, Eagles playing great, Lions playing great. I am worried about those Lions injuries.
It's hilarious to think that to see the Eagles loss. The Eagles losses came to NFC South teams. I'm like, but Denver beat them all.
I don't think we beat Philly, but that's why they say any given Sunday.
I know it was earlier in the season when they lost to the Falcons, so if it was now, we won't.
Right. Well, that was in any given Monday. Anyways, I
mean, yeah, it was still by a point, but still.
True. Do we want to talk more about the playoffs, or because I know I want to talk about the playoffs, some spectacular like plays, and there is talking about the Bears. Let's get the Bears out of the way. I don't think there's a huge conversation. Like Eberflus got fired.
Thank goodness for Bears fans, and that was the dumbest call I've seen, dumbest not called timeout like situation I've seen in probably a while.
Right. I mean, I'm like, is Caleb Williams, partially to blame? Yeah, like he's not free from all the blame, but he is a rookie. He's doing too much. This is a big, high pressure situation.
If you have the rookie doing too much, that's still on the coaching.
Right? And but that's the thing. If you see like everybody's like having time, not maybe they just ran their routes there, you've got that one timeout and all you need is a field goal. Call the timeout. Like even if you waste 7 seconds, I'd rather waste 7 to 10 seconds in getting that timeout now, because Caleb got sacked, I think, with 32 seconds left on the clock. You could have called it right afterwards, maybe having 30. Seeing how things were going, 25. At 20, everybody was not set up. Like that's when you call the timeout, because that was third down. Like even if you only need to make a few yards to just try to get a game tying kick. And no guarantee they were going to win, but it was just like the way that game ended, it was just like, oh, we won. The Lions were just like, oh, we won, it's over, it's done. Mm-hmm. And if you're a Bears fan, like I feel so bad. Like I watched some, like I don't know why it came up on my YouTube, but I was like some reaction videos.
We probably fans, overheard us talking about the Bears like we did.
Probably, but it's just like it was just like, oh, like I do feel bad.
Yeah, they took a lot of emotional damage.
They did. I mean, all season.
Right? Like, they said these were all close games, like, against their rivals. Like, they could have been, like, three up on all their rivals with better coaching.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there were 3 up. I think there were 4 that they were, like, game mismanagement at the end where they lost in the last few seconds and stuff. And honestly, I know I've said this to you privately, and I know some people were like, oh, they couldn't fire him correctly because they had to do a morning press conference. And I'm like, I actually think as much as that timeout and everything was bad, I actually think the press conference when he didn't take responsibility and stood by the play calling and the decisions. That's what got him fired. They heard that and they were like, this guy's just not getting it. Like, he's not taking any responsibility for it. And I think that I think that's what got him I think that was the last straw. Like, as much as the timeout situation sucked and everything, I truly feel like that was the last thing.
I wouldn't be surprised. It definitely felt like that was just the straw that broke the camel's back, and it really just like he thought he did the right thing. It's like, no, you didn't. Clearly, everyone could see it. Listen to man, I think Eberflus just wanted to get out of there.
I mean, the team lost all he lost the locker room after that last, So if that might have also been the case too. And then
I would have lost confidence in him, like if I wasn't already losing confidence beforehand.
Right. Well, you know what? That leads us into a good topic. I wasn't sure if we were going to discuss, but we got some time. Mm-hmm. Well, with your Dolphins loss on Thanksgiving that I was asleep for because food coma after our good Thanksgiving food. Put me asleep for most of the game.
I wish I didn't. I wish I passed out during the game with how that play was.
Right. Do you think your team's looking for a new head coach?
As we talked about off the podcast, I feel like it depends on if we make the playoffs or not. I don't like that we're once again in the same spot we always are, and I've come to realize I don't have the depression in December because of Christmas or anything. It's because the Dolphins always end up in this fucking we almost can make it into the playoffs and crap out thing for the last few decades, except for the times we did make it.
Last season must have been depressive for another because you were in the driver's seat and then you fell apart, so that must have hit differently.
Right? Like if we can do the complete opposite, that's fine. I don't get a wild card spot and then win playoffs, but he needs to be able to, if he can win a playoff game, I don't care that he's 1-15 against winning teams, but if he can just win when it counts going forward, which requires us winning every game because there's no more room for error. And if we can get to the playoffs, I think he keeps his job. If we don't if we lose out or lose a couple more of the games that we should win, I don't know. Someone probably is getting fired, and I don't know if Mike McDaniel or Chris Greer or both of them should be fired. I could see both of them. We talked about Belichick coming to the Dolphins, and that might require Chris Greer being gone too.
There might be a chance of that. I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about this about Chris Greer and stuff, but if it's for those players that you said oh well, these were people that Mike Daniel wanted, but if they're not, it's but if he's not winning with them, are we sure he's actually drafting right? Who does Chris Greer want? It's stuff like that. I don't know where Chris Greer came from before the Dolphins.
He's been with the Dolphins for 2 decades or so.
Okay, so I think he's been a pretty good GM if he's gotten the right players and a lot of free agents to come there. I know I said Belichick is definitely a choice to come down there, and I think the Dolphins would probably welcome him to make that record, and they got a good team if they can just I think that Belichick would do anything. They'd have to listen. They wouldn't be as soft.
Right. I think what was it, Jordan Brooks, one of our one of our defensive players, called us soft. Yeah, called us soft because we weren't making tackles during the game, and we're soft. We're not as physical as we should be. We're how Bruce said, we are breakdancers right now, and we need to stop being breakdancers. We need to be more physical on the offensive line and the defense. We need to be able to beat good teams. I know it was 3 narratives we had to beat out of we can't win good teams, we can't win the cold, we can't win primetime games. I know there was 3 narratives going on, but if you won, you would have beat 3 narratives,
because you did do a primetime game this year.
Mm-hmm. But the problem is that Tua didn't play bad in the cold. It did not affect Tua. So it affected some of the other players, but I think we just played bad. We didn't have pass rush. Jordan Love did not get turned into J-No like I wanted him to. We had I don't think we had any turnovers on them. We didn't play complimentary football, and when we don't play complimentary football, we lose.
Yeah, and I just want to. You mentioned like a 1-15. I know you heard that stat from somewhere, but we talked about it like yesterday. The game again, like
I think it was like I think it's like the last few, like just
the
last
season
year
and a half and so.
Yeah, last season.
Because like his first season, like he beat Buffalo, where it was the sunlight game where they were hitting,
Yeah, we beat Buffalo and we beat the Ravens, two teams, in 2022, and those were two amazing games. Like I think
they both had winning records because the Ravens would have been I think they were 1-0 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and if they weren't, Buffalo definitely was like 2-0. I think it was a matchup of two 2-0 teams, and
but yeah,
I think we'd have to double check to be sure, but I don't think it has to be the 1-15 in the last two seasons, like this season and 2023. And the worst thing I was going to say really quick about the whole 2023 season, you mentioned Brew from First Things First about the breakdancers thing. It's like you see it now. I know you were really upset about it when you were seeing it, like, because you were like, oh, well, we're in like second place or first place. And had
I
a
don't
chance
think we
and
were.
stuff.
Well, the difference was last season, I think we were just injured. We weren't as breakdancers. Now we're not as physical. There was a difference. We were like 8-3 last season, and then we collapsed or whatever. But now we're 5-7, so there's a big difference. We were 8-3 the last two seasons. We reached 8-3. We are not 8-3 now. We are at 5-7, and I think everyone sees through Mike's offensive plans. He doesn't really know how to adjust at times. Like they took away the run. Green Bay took away the run, and we basically didn't know what to do. We had to pass a ton of times and couldn't do much. Couldn't do much. He didn't know
how to adjust without Tua. You said a lot. There was a lot of things that I was thinking about, but his record's just like it's not good. And when you were saying like you were 8-3 last season, like the injuries did hurt. And you were tougher because you can also see it in how Tyreek played, how Jalen Waddle played. I know I mentioned about his slump. He broke out of that slump, last week. But like it's just like I don't get me wrong. I love Jonnu Smith, but like
we're using
Jonnu Smith. Like Jonnu Smith should not be the number one target. Like he should not be the best pass catcher along with.
I'm fine.
Mostert at sometimes.
Right, I'm fine. Well, it's Achane and Jonnu Smith right now, and Jonnu Smith has been great, and Devon Achane's turning out to being a really good pass catching running back receiver type deal, and that's what he should be. We just need to we just haven't been. Everyone's been just covering us. We can't get the big plays, and those big plays is what helped us get to get to those winning seasons. I know we went 11-6 last year after being 8-3. We should, and that's pretty good. But we could. But if we could have been better, like I don't know if Mike can. I feel like sometimes Mike McDaniel is just too nice at times, and it's not a bad thing, but it might not be but it might not be what we need to win. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it might be like when the Broncos changed from John Fox to Gary Kubiak, after you lost the Super Bowl, you needed something more than what John Fox was giving you.
Well, we lost the Super Bowl. We lost two divisional round games matchups, and then we lost. It was divisional. We lost the Super Bowl. We lost the divisional round game. We should not have lost those divisional round games, and that's why we changed coaches. And you've got the talent, and that's why I'm saying Gary Kubiak was a good coach in Houston. It fell apart because some of the talent wasn't around anymore. He's arguably the best head coach I think that they've ever had in there. Maybe I'd have to see compared to Bill O'Brien, and I think DeMeco Ryans might overtake Gary Kubiak. in the long run if he keeps up the success. But right now, I think Gary Kubiak might be the best head coach of the Houston Texans 22 seasons, I forget, existence. But that being said, I'm just looking at the market and stuff like, Bill Belichick wouldn't be bad. I know, I hope we're the first ones putting that out there. Because there are places like Jacksonville and Miami is one of those ones where it's like, you got some head coaching options this year. I think I would take it because
I don't know if Mike McDaniel will win us a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It very much looked like it from the first 2 seasons, but everyone said, everyone was on was on the Jets bandwagon, the Jets train. I was still on the Dolphins train like I always am, even when it was dilapidated, but
I have gotten off that train, just so you know.
Mm-hmm. But coming into this season, after last season where we almost won the division and going 11-6, our standards were so freaking high as well. People have picked us for the Super Bowl, and now we've lost the division and we're hoping for help to get into the playoffs. This is expectations. Steve Ross, I don't know how patient Steve Ross is, because I know he's older.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm I don't know if the best thing for this team is to keep Mike McDaniel.
I mean, I'm not one,
and Chris Greer. I don't know who the problem is.
I'm not one to fire coaches. I personally don't feel Chris Greer is a problem, because when you draft well, it's
Chris Greer had a bad year that had made some big mistakes this year.
Year I don't think should cost you, and and there's other players that that can come around, come about, and there's still some time to really work that, the draft picks that he's gotten. But he also, he's gotten Jalen Ramsey to come to that team. He got Tyreek Hill. He's got, re-signed Zach Zealer.
Yeah, no, yes, he's done a lot of good moves. I mean, yes, he made mistakes of letting go Brandon Jones and Andrew Van Ginkel.
I can't afford everybody.
I specifically mentioned those two because those two are guys we probably could have afforded, and that we thought we were going to get better production out of Jordan Poyer, and
Brandon Jones, I think, is the biggest one, because I don't know how much, it's
we could have matched Andrew Van Ginkel. We just didn't, and we would have been a better team if we had those two.
Right,
with how well Brandon Jones is doing for the Broncos and how bad Jordan Poyer's been doing for the Dolphins, and how well Andrew Van Ginkel's been doing, those two would have made a massive difference.
Yeah,
I still think we would have had some issues. I still think we would have had some issues with Tua being injured, and that did push us. That did put us into this hole. It was after Tua came back that we lost the next 2 games. If we would have, that was also. It was more than just Tua that put us into this hole. Losing Tua, it was a lot of.
But that's where
reasons.
I think it's Mike McDaniel more, because of the coaching and.
Yes, that very much exposed the flaws of Mike McDaniel, was that everyone thought he couldn't bring out the best in quarterbacks. And then Skylar Thompson is in the top 3 worst quarterbacks of the year. Mm-hmm. And then we get Tyler Huntley, and everyone thought he could make Tyler Huntley, who looked pretty good, was a Pro Bowl quarterback, looked pretty good with the Ravens. Everyone thought he was going to be the next Michael Vick or something with Mike McDaniel, and he struggled.
Who was that again?
Next Michael Vick, looked like Michael Vick with Mike McDaniel.
Wait. Oh, okay.
Tyler Huntley, and Tyler Huntley's not looking good. I just, I don't know. I'm very mixed. If Mike gets fired, I'm probably not going to be sad. I just want I want the Dolphins to win the Super Bowl, and I want what's best for the Miami Dolphins. It just comes down to that. I mean, I love these players, but I'm more being focused on the team. I know it's weird. It's weird. I want what's best for the players, but I want what's best for the Miami Dolphins. So, and it's really just, I want what's best for the Miami Dolphins. And it's just I don't know if Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are the ones to get the ones to do that. They really need to prove it to us, and I hope they can. I hope that we don't honestly, I hope we don't suffer another loss this season, and I hope we make it to the playoffs.
Right. I mean, I need to take a little bit better look at some of the records, but I will say that one of the big things that I think we're gonna have to start differentiating is the seeds of the Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay trees.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Matt LaFleur might count for both.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to double check, but Zach Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least he made a Super Bowl. Can't say that about anybody but Kyle.
Yeah.
Brandon Staley's a bad look on him, but Kevin O'Connell's looking great.
Mm-hmm.
And the interim, I guess, head coach right now, Thomas Brown,
mm-hmm.
is like he at least understands the play calling to for being the offensive coordinator, or at least the interim both. I don't know who's calling plays there, but like I just want to say, like, Kevin O'Connell and some of Matt LaFleur being on there, and Zach Taylor, Raheem Morris needs some time, and that's. Yeah, so like at least want to say like that might be a question to look at, because like I'm thinking about the Kyle Shanahan tree. I mean, I know it all comes from Mike Shanahan himself, but it's like it's the seeds. It's like it splits because Kyle. I mean, yeah, D'Amico Ryans might be the best, but it's like Saleh, Mike McDaniel, and I've had questions about Kyle Shanahan myself too. So I mean, he's like, there are questions about he has like lost like 3 Super Bowls. I know defense is an issue when you're up 28-3, and I hate to bring this up as because I love Matt Ryan and the Falcons when they played, but I mean, you couldn't get any more points. Kyle Shanahan in that Super Bowl,
right? Like,
you've had disastrous second halves in every single Super Bowl you were a part of when you were coaching at any level, like when you were in the Super Bowl. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about Kyle Shanahan, but that's another question.
Right, that's another question.
We're going,
I mean, we could do talks about them, because I've heard like we're talking about McDaniel, like on the lines of talking about McDaniel. Does Zach Taylor get fired? And I saw on Twitter, like, people ask, would you fire Shanahan? Like, in the same ones, I'm like, I feel like in some similar sections that the Bengals need better. Like, the Bengals, with how well Joe Burrow's playing, there's something going wrong here, and it's definitely the defense.
Right. I was gonna say, if there are talks about Zach Taylor who's having a bad season, just like Mike McDaniel, Zach Taylor made it to a Super Bowl, and Kyle Shanahan, if there's any talks about him being on a hot seat, like, I mean, I think Kyle would at least be warranted another year. But like, Zach with these like slow slow starts coming out of the game, out of your seasons. I don't know. I do like Mike McDaniel definitely getting fired with way some of these coaches,
Right, Mike, but like, it's like you totally see Mike McDaniel, like, because of not being able to win good teams. And I even just read a tweet that someone said, yeah, Chris Greer would totally throw Mike McDaniel under the bus to save his own job, and quote that he can't win good teams for that. And I totally see that as plausible. Like, that's totally in the realm of possibility.
Well, and with what I've said, I guess I'm a Chris Greer guy, because I agree. It's like I think we've referenced this before. I don't know, but Mike McDaniel's the chef, and Chris Greer is the manager, like the restaurant manager. He's the one buying the goods, the ingredients. So he's making stuff look good. Maybe he's getting like, it's like, oh, it looks, it's like it's like, maybe to the average person, it's like, against these average teams and stuff, oh, it's a 5-star meal. But then when you actually, if a Gordon Ramsay or, Morimoto come into your restaurant, you're not
right?
No, it's like, no, this isn't good.
Right,
like the ingredients aren't bad, but you're cooking your cooking isn't coming together.
Right, the cooking was good in the beginning, but it feels like that everyone's gotten used to the food and that it's not doing anything special anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like if you go to a restaurant, you know, like it really wowed you the first time, it really wowed you the next time, it really wowed you, but then it's just like, do we really need to keep going? Do we, right? You know, like this is good. I keep getting the same thing, like, but maybe I need to try something different at the restaurant, but nothing's you know, and when I do, it's not the same. I think that's the best way to kind of finish up that analogy, right? I mean, unless there's anything else you want to add with cooking, I mean.
Well, basically, I mean, is it like we said? I'm still not sure. Is it the cooking because the cooking hasn't been cooking, or has the ingredient? Some ingredients have been really good. There's just been a few bad ones with them. Is the real question. So I'm still not entirely sure who to put the blame on. Actually, to make it more sense, the blame's on both of them. They both made mistakes this year, and the end of last year, like Mike McDaniel's coaching was problematic. There were some problems with the offense. It wasn't just all the defense that we lost. There was a lot of questionable things, and that questionable things carried over to the beginning of this season. Now he's better, but still, those problems in the beginning was on both of them, and I don't know. And the question is basically, I don't know if both of them need to go.
Well, it's an interesting name because when we heard about like Calais Campbell, you know, like Mike Daniel is the one that kind of put the kibosh on him getting traded. So like, how much power does he have? Is that something like, did he have to go up higher than the GM? Like where does that all you know come from? Like who's but let me finish with Chris Greer. Like I will say, like his. I think that, and I don't know if this is Chris Greer or Mike McDaniel with saying like, you know, like who. I guess I really need to know who has final say over the roster, because we've said it all season long since Tua got concussed in week 2. The backup quarterback position has been horrid.
Right. Well, the worst part, like between like since McDaniel's come with backup quarterback, is that, you know, we've had some solid positions in there, except for the fact that they always keep getting injured. The backups get injured too. Like Skyler was only back in play because Tyler Huntley got hurt. Like Skyler got hurt, and then Tyler Huntley got hurt, and you know, like. And you
didn't keep Tim Boyle because like he should have.
We had him on the practice squad. He should have been snatched, but
he should have been the one that was like signed. Should have been on the regular squad because he was the only one that was looking good. And then the Giants claim him after everything. So it makes you wonder, like, of all quarterbacks that they claimed, he was the one that was actually looking really good out of of quarterbacks that could have been claimed. But
well, Tim Boyle won't play for the Giants. He might win with them.
Which is a wild thing after what we saw with the what was it called?
The Hail Mary?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he had a good offseason with the Texans.
He did. He really did.
Like, I know they're calling for Bobby Slowick's job, but he definitely fixed Tim Boyle.
But he also came from, I know people, like, I think he came from the McVay. I know we said, like, we talked about the Shanahan tree, but the McVay-Shanahan tree, so it's like, you know, there's stuff there. That's probably why McDaniel picked him up. So anything else with the Dolphins?
It really, I just hope we keep winning games, and that this is a non-issue, that McDaniel fixes it. McDaniel fixes stuff, and that Greer will just do better next year, and that they'll both move past the mistakes of this season.
I think you and me might be the only. I don't know unless there's some like Dolphins radio and stuff, but I think you and me, like, you know, as far as like not being in Miami and stuff, like we might be the only ones like not talking about this as a subject. I know like a lot of people are thinking other teams might fire their head coach. I mean, I don't know where you go, because I'll be honest with you, you know, with the Broncos winning last night, I unless somebody has a complete collapse. I think the AFC playoff picture is set. Maybe not completely set with where a team with the seeding, but I think the 7 teams are more likely than not. I think are set.
We'll see, because
Okay, I was gonna say the only one that I think might not, that has a chance at maybe not being set, but it doesn't help you, is the Texans and the Colts.
Well, we'll see. I still don't know if the Steelers are going to make it into the playoffs. I don't like their schedule.
I don't like the Ravens either, but if one team has like I think a 2-game lead on the other, don't they? Because
collapses have happened. And
yes, and the Steelers have been a part of that. I
know
understand.
the Steelers have had collapses. The Dolphins have had collapses. You just have to stay strong.
The special teams on the Ravens. I'm not gonna say. I just wouldn't hold your breath.
Yeah, Miami. You know what? I just say it happened to Miami. It can happen to everyone else.
But even though it happened to Miami last season, they still made the playoffs.
That's true, but nothing.
Because they were in the spot. They were already games ahead. So.
I mean, we've looked at Pittsburgh's schedule. We've looked at the Ravens' schedules, and they're tough. And teams on Hard Knocks, end up doing worse.
They're all on Hard Knocks,
and they can all do worse because Miami magically started doing worse last season after we got on Hard Knocks. I don't know if statistically, any team on Hard Knocks has not done well.
I don't know. After what the Browns did last night, I don't think they can play worse.
I mean, they played well and played badly at the same time.
I mean, that technically is always the Browns. But let's be honest, they're not going to play worse than when Deshaun Watson was there.
Right, they're not going to play that bad.
So, but
I really feel like Hard Knocks isn't really going to affect. I say it, but it might affect. If a team would be playing worse, it would be the Steelers. I don't know. The other 3 are kind of going to probably still play the same way they've been playing.
But honestly, the ones that I have the most questions about is the Ravens. If there was a team, I mean, honestly, after seeing some of the stat lines and stuff, I really think the Falcons blew a big opportunity to have a solid lead in their division, as well as knocking down the Chargers a little bit.
Yes.
The Ravens, I'm not gonna sit here and say Denver's quarterback play was amazing. Bo Nix did not look great yesterday, but that was a team win, because that was all phases of the ball. But when we talk about all phases of the ball, I very much worry about the Ravens special teams, and that is the side of the ball. Mm-hmm. That's the third phase of the game that could really hurt them. And if the defense, we'll see if the defense has come together. But I mean, they've got Lamar and Derrick Henry, but I worry because I'm not gonna say the Ravens failed and completely messed up, but they lost by 5. They missed 7 points on the board from Justin Tucker. So are they on? They're on bye this week too, right?
Yes, they are.
So maybe Justin Tucker will rest up, rest up, practice,
get his foot and his mind right, and
not the foot, leg, the holder. Yes. It needs to be
everything.
Operation needs to get right. Honestly, I don't know how much time you've got on the practice field throughout, but maybe we need to devote a little bit extra time for Justin Tucker.
Right, I know kicking doesn't get as much practice time in at the fields because you take up the entire field for kicks, and that doesn't help. I hope he's practicing at home, or practicing I'd have I know kicker money, but I would go to a field and practice kicking if I'm having kicking trouble.
Yeah,
I'm
grabbing the kicker and I'm grabbing the placeholder and the long snapper. And I mean, I'm just working late. I'm going in, I'm working. I'm not doing it strenuously where you're hurting your leg, but I'm making sure I'm building up my confidence. Mm-hmm. That's what you want to do. So, but we'll see what happens with the Dolphins, because it's not just the Dolphins. There's going to be teams that look good that are going to the Cardinals. There's a shot that they missed the playoffs. The Rams.
Right, I just know it's been, the beginning of December and the end of December, or the beginning of January now. Like, they're going to be the playoffs aren't set in stone until they're set in stone.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm just, like I said, I'm just saying, don't hold your breath. Don't need you passing out. You don't have a blowhole like a dolphin.
I mean, they would still be holding their breath how they breathe. And
yes,
stuff,
I know.
But still, this is not animal biology hour. But my hopes are still the same. My hopes are still the same as they always have. We just have no room for error anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And we knew it was going to be a hard game. And honestly, when I forgot until just now, I said Cleveland couldn't play any worse. You play them at home, and they're going to be dangerous.
That they are.
Because so Jameis is looking to either maybe make another year in Cleveland or somewhere as a starter. So he's going to want to play his best football, and the Browns are just going to want to play spoiler to everybody. If we can't get to January, if we can't get to the playoff football, you can't get the playoff football, and that's what they're going to want to do to you.
Right. The only advantage is Miami's, like, Mike McDaniel's better against bad teams, but it is cold and for as of right now still primetime game. So
I'm waiting for that to get flexed. I don't know what the it's Monday night, right?
No, it's Sunday night.
Oh, Sunday night? Oh, that's even better. They don't even need a lot of time for that. I thought it was a Monday night game. If it's Sunday night, they can flex that like a week, as long as it's like the week before, because it's just a game. When the game goes. What week is that?
Week 17.
Oh, that's.
I think they have a few games unscheduled though, so that's the advantage.
Right. I mean, yeah. They're not gonna flex in Colts Giants because they can just keep what they've got there. The Broncos Bengals, absolutely an opportunity because it's still Joe Burrow.
It's still exciting even if he's not winning.
Absolutely.
Atlanta and Washington, maybe, depending on if maybe Michael Penix is in, or depending on
if we get if it's Penix or even the Falcons just still maintaining, and it's like actually if it's two playoff teams, if the Falcons haven't completely shot the bed, then my number one choice is Falcons at Commanders.
Arizona at Rams is still
I missed that one. Yeah, that absolutely could be. That's number 2. Broncos Bengals is number 3. I think that would be the that would be the.
Or if they magically go on a winning streak, it's already there for Sunday, and it already has the market. Dallas at Philly.
That's one of those ones where I bet you that game's already on Fox.
Yeah, they're probably not. That's the only. My bad. It's the only afternoon game.
Yeah, they're
not giving that up.
A lot of those games, like Bengals Broncos, might be afternoon.
Yeah, some of these other games will flex it. Yeah, but
and that's also a week where they probably will do a couple Saturday games too. So that one's not getting changed out. But you will probably be on the Sunday afternoon though, instead of Sunday morning.
Well,
because
I mean,
they will need a Sunday. They will need more Sunday afternoon games.
Right. I mean, but. Also, Green Bay at Minnesota is also doable as well.
Wait, when's that?
That's Sunday morning.
I get if they're allowed to touch the morning games, that could be. But I swear that we're gonna have a lot of those teams already in the like primetime games that they probably want to give a little bit more variety. Because I mean, not to say that we're gonna have the Packers on primetime last week. We had the Packers on a primetime game this week. So, and I think I forget if they have another primetime game already, but we'll see. It's good football, so I'm not going to complain. I just think they're going to give some other teams
right. Well, it depends on what the win records of the teams are, because if Miami has any more losses, it'll probably be gone. But if Miami's like 8-7 by that time, which I hope, they might, and depending on what the Browns' record is, like if they're a bit better, that it might stay.
Yeah. The other. My mind completely blank. Man, what was I gonna say?
I do not have that in. I do not.
It was about the Falcons and Commanders. Mm-hmm. We've only had like what 2 primetime Jaden Daniels games, so I'm not gonna complain about a third, especially since Bo Nix is gonna have a third. So I don't think it's a bad move to get Jaden Daniels in there.
Right? I can see them wanting to throw Jaden Daniels in there.
I think it's going to depend on how bad the Falcons are looking because, I mean, Kirk is like no touchdowns, like 6 interceptions, a bunch of fumbles. It has not looked pretty.
It has not. So.
All right. But that's the future. I don't know what else we want to talk about. Aziz Al-Shair, he's got suspended for 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was right in the sense of there were a lot of he's had some mishaps that they did not call, like he punched Roshan Johnson, and I didn't see it, but I heard that there was he did a late hit on Tony Pollard last week. He also had this weird, I think, choke hold or something I heard on Tom Brady a couple years ago. It went like unflagged and so he's had it's where it's like he's been problematic and it's like finally catching up to him. It reminds me like last year of Kareem Jackson with the Broncos where he just kind of like launched himself and there were just and then he didn't change his play and then it happened again and he got suspended and then they were just like, nope, we're cutting you, and then he joined the Texans, so I don't know.
The suspension's a good thing because I don't need a player like that going up against my quarterback that I worry about each game.
Right? Are the Texans on bye this week?
They're on bye this week, so their next game is the Dolphins.
Oh, okay.
So, yay!
So he's gonna be missing out. Oh, I see what they did.
You.
So he's missing out on Tua, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson. I see what they did there.
Yeah, they suspended him so he couldn't hurt the
franchises.
The franchises. Yeah, because like Tua would. Would be a news story if he gets hurt again. You don't want him to hurt Patrick Mahomes, and you definitely don't want him to hurt Lamar. Like, definitely don't want him to hurt all 3 of them.
Right. Well, and I'll be honest with you. We'll see if he's gonna, what's the word? I don't want to say petition, but he's gonna appeal. Thank you. Appeal this suspension. If I think because of the circumstances of the past, it might stay 3 because I think he's just getting hit all at once for his past misdeeds.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I don't think it's gonna be overturned with the appeal for 3 games. If it does, it's just gonna be 2 games. But he's not the one that there's a whole defense, so like I think they'll be fine without him. So like it's still 3 tough games.
Right. Like that's a very tough schedule for the Texans. The Colts might sneak by the division here.
Right. Colts could lose the next one and then win 3 straight afterwards. That's what I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Let me see. Let's look at the Colts schedule. Yeah. And their next game I know is the Broncos, but that's
they have Tennessee. They have the Giants in Jacksonville.
Oh shoot! I was being facetious, but
the division might be theirs.
Yeah.
One of my picks might be right. One of my picks might be right for the predictions. How I say how I said the Colts will win the division because they have Miami, Kansas City, Baltimore, and Tennessee. The Texans. Those are not like none of the only the.
No, the Titans aren't even
They lost to the Titans, so they don't have any gimmies.
And they have not looked great. So, like, yeah, this is going to be interesting. I take back what I say. Like, I mean, kind of, because I actually, so now, even though it's not the Dolphins, I guess I will say that nobody looks locked in as far as this whole thing doesn't look locked in because of the AFC South.
I know they're 8-5 right now, but I would rather if we beat the Texans, I would rather the Colts make the division because we could jump the Texans easier than because we already lost to the Colts if we win the Texans.
Right? If the Texans, you beat the Texans, win out the rest of the way, that would move like that moves up the Colts. We stay in. Oh, that could be. That could be fun.
Yeah, and then they were like, if the Ravens get knocked out or something, like the Ravens or the Chargers somehow flub it up.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But I mean, I know the 15th is a big week, and then we got the 19th on Thursday Night Football. Mm-hmm. Definitely 2 big games for the Broncos. So we'll see what happens. So I still feel like most of the teams, like I'd say, if anything, all but one team is. I
think I don't think like the AFC South is definitely not locked in. The wild card teams are definitely are not 100% locked in the sense of you don't know with okay, I'll just say it. The Chiefs might not win the Chiefs might not win the division because because Houston can swing either way against them, and they play the Chargers and the Broncos.
First of all, the Chargers need to win because if the Chargers lose, they win the division.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, if they win the division, then that's the difference. I mean, I think they're pretty much going to, but it's not a lock.
No,
just like it's not a lock on the Steelers, but it's definitely not a lock on the Steelers with the division, and definitely not a lock with the Texans. It's the only one locked, obviously, is the Bills. But as I said, I think I'm actually rooting for the Chiefs this week for Miami Dolphins playoff hosts. So it's going to be it's not set in stone. It's like not set in stone, but they're pretty much. But they're getting ready to set it in stone.
It's going to be fun.
They're getting the chisels ready.
Right, and I don't know if I've really had enough time to talk about the Broncos. I know I mentioned, but man, it's like besides Bo not playing great, like I really enjoy. I love seeing Jaleel McLaughlin, run the ball. Like I don't think he ran it enough. Feel bad for Javonte, but I don't think he's going to be with us after this season. I'd like to see some more Audric Estime, but oh man, they've been calling Marvin Mims Jr. the playing this Joker position. Mm-hmm. Like he's just like the wild card, and I'm loving it. I mean, him and Cortland Sutton both had over 100 yards receiving. I did not love our defensive scheme and not having PS2 on Jerry Jeudy, because it is ridiculous that he went for over 200 yards and set like a record against us. So that was bad. I don't care what Jameis can figure out, but no, this was like piss poor and horrible on Vance Joseph. We got the win, but that is not acceptable. I'm very proud for the players that everybody. I mean, part of the problem was Levi Wallace, but I'm happy that we got the win. But like Nick Benito played great. PS2 was great, even if he didn't have he locked down anybody he covered, but he should have been on. He should have had him on Jerry Jeudy. Who else? Daquan McMillan got that pick 6. Another Cody Barton interception. So he's filling in for Alex Singleton. Great. And
I don't know if you need Alex Singleton without Cody Barton's been doing.
I think he's a bit younger, but if he can come back, it's just everybody. It's like this defense really came to play, and getting the sacks. Making Jameis mess up is what really helped us win the game. Mm-hmm. I think Bo and Sean Payton were getting a look. Maybe they were trying some new stuff. Maybe they were getting a little full of themselves. We got the win. I think we need to play a little bit better. Maybe the spotlight was just a little too. It was Monday Night Football. You grow up, Monday night. It's the you're the only game on TV that day. People are coming out. I'm sure people are getting off work early. The whole city is. A party. So it might have been a little, it might have been a lot for him to, compared to a Thursday night game, like it's the end of the week. So it might have been, probably just some nerves and maybe some excitement and all that. So I'm overall happy for, that we won. and I'm sure Bo will improve. I mean, I think that we're, you know, I personally think that all the college starts were a boon for him, and he like he's gonna develop a lot sooner than some of these other quarterbacks.
Yeah, like we heard that, like, and think like he's closer to his ceiling than I think some others are.
Which I don't think's a bad thing. I just think that as long as he had one ugly, one interception that didn't go, that was just kind of a crazy play where it was up in the air. It was the tip drill. Yeah, deflection.
Yeah, the things that deserve a second name, name besides an interception. It's an interception, but it should not count. But it's like one of those ones that does not count against the quarterback.
Yeah, it's like the defense made a play on the ball, like. But yeah, no, I'm trying to think. No, I just think everybody's done well, so everybody's coming together, and I like that. I also stumbled a bit there because it looks like the Broncos just waived Josh Reynolds.
I'm not surprised.
But yeah, honestly, like with
how good Mims, Troy Franklin, and Vele have been doing on top of Sutton, you don't need Josh Reynolds. Well,
and that's also why little Jordan Humphreys is probably just on the practice squad or not. Like we're really trying to develop what we've drafted in the last 2 years, and I'm happy for that, and with it coming together. So especially Mims, Mims feels like the third guy, and I'm good with that. I think Vele's like moved up to 2, or you can switch him out. But that, like I said, with Mims being the Joker, he can be anywhere in the backfield, and
Right, Mims is like very good, is using that speed very well. He's looking like what Debo used to look like.
Right, I think he could actually get better than Debo, and I think because if he keeps going, so
probably as long as we'll see what happens.
Right, but no, I just really enjoyed the game. Kudos to Jameis was looking great. Like I was really
your problem with it's like Levi Wallace was definitely the problem in missing Riley Moss because
Riley Moss, oh my gosh, he was so missed.
MVP.
I wouldn't go that far, but definitely earned another contract on missing a game alone. So.
Right? Isn't he like a rookie? Like shit.
I think second year.
Second year? Like he's not. Yeah, he's really new. So like, good for him. Like good for showing how well you. Good by showing how valuable you are by not playing. But
right. Now I'm just wondering if Levi Wallace is going to get, I hate seeing players get cut and stuff and all that, but, sometimes you're just,
right. Sometimes you're just, it might have just been a bad game for him.
I
don't know Levi Wallace's stats.
He just looked so slow. Like, that was the thing. Like, I mean, like, he looked like he lost and stuff. Like, I'm like, is he a cornerback? Like, really? Like, I was like, he looked slower than some of the safeties, too. Like, I'm like...
Okay, he has been in the league for a bit, so...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's 29, and he was drafted by the Bills in 2018.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize he was with Bills. I knew he was with the Steelers.
Yeah. So, that might just be a bit of age, even though I know he's only 29, but maybe it came early for losing speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Levi Wallace just was in a bad position, and Jerry Jeudy looked like the best he's ever looked last night.
I mean, if he looked like that and had a better attitude,
yeah, Jerry Jeudy wouldn't have been traded.
Right. I mean, it's hard to I know people like to talk about certain teams and you're a Cowboy for life, or you're a Raider for life, or the Broncos are one of those organizations where they love their own. It doesn't get mentioned enough. The Broncos don't get enough love in this league because for some reason Mike Shanahan is not a finalist for the Hall of Fame this season, but the guy he beat in Mike Holmgren is in the Super Bowl. I don't get that. Explain that one to me.
Mm-hmm. So. I don't have the answer. I mean, Mike Holmgren, I know, is a really good coach. It's like just Mike Shanahan and Mike Holmgren should both be in there. I think sometimes there's just not enough candidate spots in the Hall of Fame, but that's like a home. That's kind of like a whole. That's kind of like a whole other podcast topic.
It is, because like I'll just say, like, when I think of the Hall of Fame, I'm just like, you mentioned, like, I'll just leave this as Mike Shanahan. I'm just like, he put because of his coaching, he made John Elway a Super Bowl champion, put tons of guys in the Hall of Fame, and well, without him, can you know, like let's just look at the current coaching cycle. I mean, without him, do we know if Aaron Rodgers gets 2 more MVPs? The Rams, do they win a Super Bowl? You know, like there's so much from like I mean, I know that some of these guys didn't just learn from Shanahan, but like when you see that, you know, it's like, you know, you can see the Shanahan influence on the league as it is right now, and that is an absolute, you know, disservice to what the Hall of Fame stands for him to not be in, for him not to be in it, as well as some other, you know, Broncos like Carl Mecklenburg, and I mean, you know, Randy Gradishar just finally made it in. Can't even tell you who the next Bronco might be. Like, is Von Miller. Probably at this rate.
Right, whenever he retires.
Yeah, and maybe Aqib Talib. I think there's a couple, there might be some coming up or something. I don't know for sure.
Right, I don't even know the next Dolphin coming in. It's probably another one of the older ones.
Right, but you know, but but I also think you know, because of your, you know, because of the 70s and stuff, you have more Hall of Famers than, you know, the Broncos. The Broncos, I think, you know, if we're not counting like, you know, somebody like Ty Law who was on the team for like a year. But like when I think about, like, you know, Broncos, like, you know, Peyton is a Bronco, but like people who have been with them a majority of the time, or you know, made a, you know, impact as a Bronco.
Yeah, like DeMarcus Ware.
Right, yeah, DeMarcus Ware is a Bronco. Like he even considers himself a Bronco with some of the stuff he put in the Hall of Fame. So I think we got maybe a dozen now. Just gonna list them off the top of my head, with like Randy Gradishar, Marcus Ware, Peyton. I think Steve Atwater finally made it in. I know Champ did. I know TD, Shannon Sharp, Elway. I know Floyd Little. I know Pat Bolin. So like I'm at 10 after top of my head right now, and I'm sure I'm missing some that maybe before my time. I mean, not that we had a lot before, you know, before the 90s.
Right, it says Miami has 18 of them, 18 Hall of Famers. I don't know how many, like, are, you know, how many of them are, I know there's probably a bulk that are, you know, true Dolphins, and I know, like, we have some that were on the team for a little bit that I don't know how Dolphins they really were, like Chris Carter at the end of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he did play for us, but I wouldn't really consider him. It's like I know it's like how I know Zach Thomas played for the Cowboys, but I consider him mostly a Dolphin.
Right. Looking for him, and I'll double check ones that I missed. Like Gary Zimmerman, one that I missed. But some, it's like I'm not count, like I don't count, like I said, Ty Law and Tony Dorsett was like 1 year. Brian Dawkins, I'd at least, you know, I could accept he at least played there for 3 seasons. Same thing with like John Lynch. I don't mind, you know, like they were great players and they played great on the Broncos as well, even if we, you know, but you know, it's, okay, we have 15 Hall of Famers. Just, you know, Willie Brown.
Yeah, like I saw some more Miami ones like that. Like, yeah, they were on the Dolphins for like a year or something. They don't really count. Like Thurman Thomas is like at the end, like the last year of his career was with the Dolphins. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't. It's like. Like the worst one is going to be you said the worst one that's going to be the next might be the next Hall of Famer for the Dolphins is Aqib Talib, because we had his rights, but he never played for us.
Does he even count? Like that's worse. Like Ty Law, at least Ty Law counts more than.
That's good. Like I said, we'll see if they put up like that the Dolphins with him. They shunt. But if they do, like that's going to be the worst. That's going to be the worst, like non-Dolphin Dolphin Hall of Famer who not really. Like there was like also like
right,
like I know like George Young basically got in more as the Giants general manager, but he was like with the Dolphins before he was the director of player personnel for the Dolphins before he joined the Giants, but he was the Giants general manager from like the 70s to the 90s.
Willie Brown played 4 years with the Broncos, and he was like a star, and then they traded him to the Raiders, where he spent like more time there. So makes sense. It was like you count them. It was more than we've completely gone off topic as far as I've said like Broncos Hall of Famers and stuff, but.
Yeah, this became a weird Hall of Famer that did all because I know you're just you feel that the Broncos are disrespected.
Yeah. Right, Zimmerman, at least he played, I forgot him, but I know he played, I'm pretty sure he won this. I think he won a Super Bowl with us, or not. He might have. Yeah. He played. I remember him vaguely as a kid, but he played his last season with us and only won the Super Bowl 32. But other than that, I think I made my point. You still have more Hall of Famers than us, and I would I'd love to know and because those 15 that includes Ty Law and Tony Dorsett with 1 year.
Right, we'd have to look at the ones that how much did they actually do for our team to see who is actually more, because I know there was, like I said, about Thurman Thomas.
Yeah, that one I would get. Yeah, I get that one. I totally agree on that one. So
if they're with you for 1 year, but they help you win the Super Bowl, that's a completely different story.
Yeah, I can see that. And Zimmerman only won 1 Super Bowl, but he played there a few seasons since. But I count I know Brian Dawkins and John Lynch, and DeMarcus Ware. DeMarcus Ware helped us win the Super Bowl. I think he was the final piece that put us over the top. But the other guys like John Lynch had great moments. Brian Dawkins had great moments in Denver. I'm sure that if you were to put a top 10 plays of their career, they'd have at least two of the Lynch and Dawkins, at least 2 games each in a Broncos uniform.
But a future one who will probably be in there, I know he hasn't, but I think he's done well this season for Miami. But I don't know if he'll be remembered, is Calais Campbell.
Yeah.
But I don't know what will happen with him in the future. But I love him on this team right now, and I think if he gets in and it's only 1 season for the Dolphins, I'll still count him because he mattered this season to me.
We'll see. Calais Campbell, I remember, for me, he's always he was a Jag, that's
he's going to mostly be what he was more for the other teams, but he's just he'd be one more I would count just because I'm liking him this season. But it depends when he gets into the Hall of Fame. Will I remember him on the Dolphins?
Right. To be fair, I think you've got at least 3 Hall of Famers on that team right now. Mm-hmm. You've got Calais Campbell, Jalen Ramsey, and Tyreek Hill, and maybe Teron Armstead. I don't know how
he's very good when he plays. His injury history is
I don't know how you'd have to see how he lines up with other offensive tackles over the course of his career and stuff like that. But right now you've got 3 Hall of Famers on that on that roster right now that I can think of. So actually you might have 4 because you do have Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that one might take a little longer because Reggie Wayne's not in, and I know they both won rings, so it's I think he's had great moments, so it's going to be one of those things where we'll see. But alas,
right.
3 Hall of Famers right now. I was going to say my team. I think my team only has 1, and maybe 2 if Sean Payton makes it. I think he will because he had such good seasons with the Saints, and I think with the way he's going right now, PS2, and that's
right. Some of the others remain to be seen how their careers go. I don't want to be I remember what was it when we used to watch Golic and Wingo, they used to call him Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes before very early in his career.
Yeah.
Which they turned out to be right probably on that, but still.
Especially Wingo.
I know.
I was gonna say the only other one right now on like I feel like that if he keeps going the way he's going with with the streaks and sacks, if it's more than a one season wonder.
Nick Benito, totally, it might be the next Von Miller for you.
But I remember he holds a special place in my heart because he was drafted here in Vegas. We went out to the draft, and he was drafted when we were there. So I like he's a special player to me. So I want to get his jersey.
Yeah, Miami's player that was drafted then hasn't barely even played. So we're back to who's the problem here. Once again, making me think who's the problem.
Wasn't that partially like Vic Fangio too? I forget who was it.
No, it was our third draft. It was Channing Tindall, not Cam Smith.
Oh, okay.
And I was
To be fair, I mean that was if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that the season that you traded stuff because we both didn't have first round draft picks because of the Russell Wilson trade and the Tyreek Hill trade, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Which was so upsetting when the draft is in your hometown and you're like, gonna go first day draft, and then we were like,
we don't have to.
We don't have to. We can, we want to see stuff, but like it's gonna be crazy busy on the first day of the round 1. Went round 2 and 3, and it was so much better. So
right, it was still busy as hell, and we still had to walk a long distance, but it was still fun.
Yep. I think that's about it. I mean, I don't know what else we'd really want to talk about. I think we've kind of gone on and just, said our piece. Excited for the next week. We're in the playoff push right now, so we kind of know who everybody is. The Broncos got a week off. I'm happy about that. Good luck to you this week.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you playing?
The Jets.
Well, hopefully you got this.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else you want to say?
I hope we do well, and just I know we just have some injuries. Hopefully, we have some returns from injuries, and that we stop losing cornerbacks to injuries. But that's about my final piece on it.
Well, if you're good, I'm good, and that's pretty much it. So please like, share, subscribe, give us some feedback. We'll see you here next time on Generic Sports Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Bye.